Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I would like to pray for the price of silver to go to $5,000 an ounce. I believe that's what Peter Schitt says will happen one day when the financial system resets. I think gold will be 20,000, silver will be 5,000. Bismuth is rarer than silver. I want bismuth to hit $10,000 an ounce. And I'm not sure about the other ones. Indium is technically more common than any of that, but because of political reasons, we only mine 600 tons every year, right? Right now, it's kind of cheap. I'm loading up. I don't know where it's going to go, but let's pray that it hits something substantial. I'm not too excited anymore these days when I see a dip and a buying opportunity because I'm not seeing it that way anymore. I don't know if this is a good sign or a bad sign that my psychology has been changed. And the reason I'm not so excited about the dips anymore is that I find that I'm not nearly as repressed in society now that I have a solid foundation to stand on. I was working at a tutoring center, and I'm still there. But 4 weeks ago, I had one of my favorite students actually, and unfortunately, she had brought in a bag of Cheetos, got it all over her hands, and that's something that I'm very allergic to. It gives me skin rashes and all that, especially for a job that I'm commuting into. It's a good 15 minute drive away. I don't want to have to figure out how to drive home in a reaction like that. I mean, I'm probably not going to have a life-threatening reaction, but in a way, it's life-threatening because then I have to figure out how to drive home in a situation like indirectly life-threatening, right? And so, not to mention, we live in a society that isn't very accommodating, right? So, for example, let's suppose that this happened in Taiwan or Vietnam or even Poland to some extent, and I have a bad reaction at work, and I need to sit down and allow my skin to cool off before driving home. I could probably sit in the tutoring center, right? I can already see myself asking my boss, hey, really bad reaction, and maybe my boss will have a second set of keys. Just ask me to make sure to lock up. I can kind of see that happening over in Taiwan. United States, good luck. People don't think about the plight of other people that they send out of their way, right? So, for example, you guys remember what happened when I was dealing with COVID during the heat wave, or even earlier this year, I got lost on my way home from the airport. It was August. I'll let you look up what the weather in Phoenix looks like. August, not fun. And people give me heck just to sit down and cool off a little bit. Now, obviously, I wasn't dressed very nicely. I had my suitcases and all that. But you know what? I had suitcases. It's not like who else is gonna let's imagine you're actually doing something bad, shooting drugs or something. Who's gonna lug around 3 suitcases just to make it look like they just came from the airport just to shoot drugs, right? How about you some common sense, right? I guess the other problem is that they have to like treat everybody equally bad because if they kick out somebody who's just about to shoot fentanyl from their from the lobby of this was a insurance agent that I was sitting at, and then they don't kick out somebody who just came home from the airport. The guy who's shooting fentanyl might just say that it's because of my skin color, it's because whatever situation, my age or whatever, right? I guess that's part of the problem as well, right? Who knows? In Taiwan, I guess they don't have nearly as many protections and stuff like that. So it's a double edged sword in some way, right? But anyway, what was I getting at? So I want you guys to pray that gold hits 20,000, bismuth 10,000, silver 5,000, and I'll feel a lot less repressed and be able to actually make my way at work. I want you to pray that tomorrow when I wake up in a teenager body again. And here's why. Here's why. I feel like some of the things that I have in life I acquired late. Connections, wealth, um, good health, good healthy habits. If only I had these when I was 16 years old. Here's why. I recently made a connection with one of my former students, and I just think that if only I had her when I was 16. I often have a hard time with connections. So, for example, I recently applied for a part time job at a Lego store because I want to make some connections with making my Lego art and all that. Just a part time job, just a couple hours every week, right? But the store hadn't even opened yet, and they were all filled. They don't even open for another 3 weeks. In large part, probably because those people had connections, families, friends, who knows what, right? Maybe the guy also was dating a 17-year-old girl, but he was actually 17, and now they could find, they could hear, they could have eyes and ears for each other, right? And so, ditto with the wealth. Imagine I could take my 1.5 million or whatever it is now. It's probably only 1.2 now because of all the dipping, of all the buy the dip opportunities. But that's good. Other people can jump on board now, right? I'll get that back soon. But imagine I could take my 1.2 million back to when I was 16. Right? When I was interviewing for my first job, when I was interviewing for college, for grad school, and I could use the $1.5 million voice with that, right? Can you imagine where I'd be? I probably wouldn't just study at Rochester Institute of Technology. Right? I'd have time to write it out when I was being rejected by all the other schools, right? Imagine I could take my good health today, as bad as it is, right? I don't have the kind of stamina that I used to. Nowadays, every time I park my car, I feel like I need to take a 5-10 minute nap, right? But imagine I took my healthy habits today back to when I was 16, right? Eating a lot of seaweed. I started to eat healthy when I was 16, but I still had a lot of aversion to green stuff, right? Ditto with other skills. Imagine I could take my ability to create art, right? Bismuth art, the Lego ideas. Imagine I started submitting Lego ideas when I was 16. That angers me a lot. I don't think, Lego ideas didn't exist when I was 16, but imagine I started building Legos and advertising it when I was 16, and eventually the Lego ideas comes on board and I start submitting there, right? So tomorrow when I wake up, I better have a 16-year-old body. I want to see the medals where up to the moon. Actually, keep one non-toxic metal down here on Earth. All the other ones shoot to the moon because I want to have art to work with. All right. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.